one thing. That's one
I
thing
I
that I
started it
need
up. I started
to.
up. So let me
Okay.
just run through this. So and you can go to YouTube. But anyways, this is the PvP community better mod that I'm going to be talking about here, and this really is for the PvP crowd that plays Gladius. And a long history short, Gladius has been a game where there's a lot of meta strategies, a lot of things evolving, a lot of players finding things, and the game's constantly getting harder and harder, more competitive to play. And people have stepped in to try to make it more fair and make the game more fun to play. And so as of late, we currently have a mod called community mod or balance mod, and that is what most people are playing today. But I'm here to bring another look here. This is a split of that mod, but it's called PvP community better mod, and it keeps a lot of the better life things of that mod and a lot of the good changes that were implemented. But the real thing that's going to be different from this mod is the goals. So what lacked of the previous balanced community mod was, I believe, the consistency, and maybe, you know, whether it's, are we voting for it, which players are getting the feedback. There was a lot of things I felt that near the last update, things were not going the way I liked it. And so with this mod, you're going to see clear goals, and we're going to try to be transparent with that. So I'm going to break that down for you. And one of the simple ones would be voting. And that's going to be done on Discord on the sub channel for balance. And there's going to be a process, and, you know, but it's going to be consistent. And it's not just voting, but there's objective and subjective ways of looking at the game. And that one's a difficult one to kind of to describe, but it just means that you can look at things that on paper value, like HP, hit points, damage, apple to apple. You get this unit on this tech tree, but subjectively is more, you're looking at maybe the faction in its whole, what they're good at, what we're, you know, every faction seems to have a play style, and you can't always go, you know, apple to apple, because there might be like Guard, for instance, that they're built to be very good range faction, but they suck at melee. So you can't have them, well, let's make them just as good as Tyranid and melee. That would make no sense. But and then you got heroes that can do buffs, debuffs, and synergies within the metas. So you can have someone with a good skill set that could take an average unit but make that unit a lot better based on what they're doing in the game. So I think that's a thing to also consider when you're balancing a mod, is you have to put that into perspective as well. But the main thing is active player feedback. So that was a big one for the last mod, the active player feedback. We want it to be very simple, meaning that you play Gladius PvP throughout the week. You're active. You don't play it once a month or once in a blue moon, or you don't just play it with a couple of your friends, and that makes you able to be weighted in all the conversation topics around changes of the mod. So that's going to be in consideration. Now, it's not saying you're the best player of the game. It just means that you're actively getting games under your belt and you're playing, because when you're playing, you're seeing what's happening. So that's very important. I talked about voting, but again, that's something we want to be transparent about, so that you can see that this change happened because the majority of the community is 80 to 90% down with maybe a major buff or a major nerf, and it wasn't just done on a whim. Meta strategies, that's a good topic, because Street 250, the guy that's going to be organizing the mod and making the changes, we want the game to open up for players to be creative and have lots of different ways of playing their faction, right? So we don't want one faction doing one meta only, and that's the only way they can win a game. So the idea of the balance mod is to open up many metas and give that creativity to the players. And that will reward players that put in a lot of time and try to come up with unique stuff. So we want to take the player feedback, find out ways how we can make units better or make abilities do more things. And so that will be also looked in a lot. But another last thing I want to say, respect each other. So here's the thing. You can give critical feedback of whatever in the mod, and that's okay. In fact, I think that's a good thing. What happened with the other mod, you would get critical feedback and then it would be kind of personal, or you'd be kind of attacked in a sort of way. So we want to encourage everybody to voice their opinions, but we don't want it to be derogatory, name calling, like borderline harassment. If you're gonna be like that, then you're gonna be excluded from changes of the mod. You're not gonna be counted in the voting. You're not gonna be okay until you change your ways. So it's not like you have to be Mother Teresa to everybody, but it just means that when you're if it's not related to the mod and you're going way off the deep end, that probably means you're not respecting this whole mod community here. And that's about it. So if any of you guys in Discord have questions, go ahead. If not, forever hold your peace.
One thing, Des.
Yes. Matt.
It's also less of a question and more of a just a criticism of this. What we're doing right now, we're splitting a community. We're splitting community into two mods.
Yeah.
And some will decide that the one mod is gonna be better, the other one is gonna be worse. Community is already small. Personally, I do understand what you're coming from, but honestly, if they they actually do change this, like they actually do change this in a week, but we cannot really be having fights every single time there's a stupid nerf happening. That's also true.
Yeah,
it's just that the community is as it is, and if people are supposed to have two mods, what you're gonna get is you're gonna get two different metas which are gonna devolve, like completely two different metas are gonna devolve. Currently, the only way, right, from the testing and from the games I did, the soft games, which are the games against AI, I did like 3 games like this against AI, and an actual game that I did today. The only, the best strategy for Necron currently is infantry transitioning into air, which is something I've already been doing for a while, and or vehicles like arcs covering you to transition into air. You do not go monos now. They deleted this unit from the game. The problem is, as it stands, right, that's one meta that's gonna be evolving into this mod, right? The mod that is the Twins mod, right? The Twins mod, that's the meta that's gonna be evolving, right? More into aircraft Necron for the later stages. If you want to make mono viable again, right? Like, I do believe that the first mono, right, was a bit too strong, so it does deserve a nerf. But if you make the mono, not useless, which, by the way, we already with John Weirdy discussed an idea how to do that, but that's for the later time. You will create a different meta that's gonna kind of keep the same as it is now, which is vehicle Necron transitioning eventually into monoliths. So we're gonna keep this meta going there, and this meta is gonna just keep doing what we were doing before.
So Matt, let me address your first thing, because your first thing was like a big point, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And you're right, you're 100% right. Like, this is just causing division. Again, you could also look at it like, well, it's competition as well. And in business, when you have competition, like say, we had a phone from this company, but no competition, and another company comes and they produce their own phone, but this phone has like smart technology or whatever. This causes the competition, the competitor, to try to harder, right? So in a way, like, even if this mod fails, it might even make the current mod that everyone plays better, right? Because now they're like, oh, well, this is competition and we don't want to, I'm saying that as a minor positive, even if that does happen. But you're 100% correct. That's not my goal. In fact, I've always said it would be nice if Proxy would have handled the balancing, the devs, because it's their game and it's less drama. But what I'm trying to say is that I think there's a lot of players such as myself that have seen the writing on the wall, and we want positive change. We want the modding community for the balance to even be better. So it's me and Tree. We're gonna try to launch it. It might fail, but that doesn't change. Like I still like playing with you guys. I like playing with like 90% of the people on here. But it's one of those things where if you don't, you never know what could happen. But like I said, at the end of it, even if the worst case scenario where this never, comes off the ground, at least there's that thing there for people to see. Like we want the community for balance to go in a better direction, and this is, us trying to see if we can make it even better. But one thing I want to say is in the description is the link. And pretty much everything is at this date and time, everything is like pretty much very similar to the current community mod balance, but except monos, I believe, are back to their full strength. And there's a video of me explaining why I thought it was a really bad nerf for Necron.
Can I say words about mono? I backed it. I reverted to original, but as emergency nerf, I reduced some HP. We will discuss this later, since we will consider it how walls will occur.
Yeah. So
right now,
I want to say one thing, because the goal, I don't know if you guys are on the YouTube, you can see my screen, but I've got the goals written out on the screen. But the goal is to be more, to take your feedback. I know, Matt, you got a lot of feedback. I think that's great. And we want to take active feedback. We want to look at it objectively, subjectively. We want to have voting. We want this to be a very consistent process. And, maybe some of your thinking and your logic, it actually goes all the way from point A to point B, and then it gets implemented. But what we're trying to point out, that the way the current popular mod right now is working, that it's not consistent, and it's very, especially this last update, it's turned people in the wrong way, how they feel about it, such as myself. But I think I would say wishful thinking. Give this mod a try. You got nothing to lose. You can always go back to the current mod that people like to play. But we're going to try to make changes and implement them and listen to you guys. But we also need you guys, active players, to try it. And that's pretty much it. But Trey, do you want to add anything more for why, people that love to play PvP, why they should try going to the better mod, the community better mod?
I think this mod will much more rely on active players who's actually playing the game, not spectators. And we will try to take information more from really happening games, not from just modeling games in PvE and the back panel. We will try to to modify a game compared to PvP experience.
Yeah, so what he's saying in a nutshell is, if you're playing the game religiously, weekly, and you're putting in the hours, your weight as a player is increased. Your vote is increased. Your feedback's even more. And that includes anybody doing those things. It's not just okay, it's going to be Matt, it's going to be Mike, it's going to be Star. But we're posting it on the screen here to show players this is our goals. And so we're not showing any favoritism to one player or one person. We're saying if you're doing these things that we set out on the goal here, your voice is going to be heard, and we're going to try to implement those things. So that your time and effort and energy is not completely wasted. But just know that we're going to try to be consistent to what we're saying here. So I hope that makes sense. this video is just to kind of give people an idea of like, why should I make a move over to this mod, you know? And basically we're going to be trying to be more grassrooted active with the players that actually play the game every day, and go into the voice pods and hear what you guys have to say, write notes down, do votes, listen to you guys more. So instead of this kind of shadowy, like backdoor channel, like, and then dropping things and hoping that they're what people want, we're going to try to, you know, try to nail it more than not.
I also think we need to discuss how voting system will be proceeded. We need like to discuss this and came up with conclusion. I think we need a change for some unit mechanic arises. We need to like vote, will this is this rework really needed? So we'll like make a vote. If like 51% or more will be for rework, we will then discuss rework of this unit mechanic. Then we can yes. Then several people will like present the ideas how we better rework or we want rework this unit, and then we will vote for each rework.
Okay.
Like for each rework is thumbs up, thumbs down. If ratio of thumbs up to thumbnail will be like will like above some specific value, something like 70%, 80%, we will implement this change in the mod.
Yeah, so like for big nerfs or big buffs, it's got to be an overwhelming percentage of people voting yes on it, right? So like
also I want to add, like on big changes you will just have less ratio of thumbs up and snail. It just comes naturally. Like small changes will be like more popular.
Small changes will be a lot more easier to implement because they'll have a lower threshold. Okay, but yeah, I think this is good, guys. I'm gonna wrap up this video. Again, if you play Gladius PvP, you want to be active with myself and other people, we're gonna try to promote this mod. It's in the description. Just click it, add it, and you know, if you're worried about, oh well, I'm already with this mod, you just have to like when you go to your mod screen and to startup, you just check the checkbox off and on to the mod you want to be implemented, and there you go. So it's not like you have to say goodbye to, you know, the mod you want to play. So anyways, thank you everybody. This is gonna end it.